The time now 9:13. Well, in recent years, there has been a big push to beef up school security, and we've been following the progress at many different mid-Missouri schools. In Jefferson City, work has been underway to upgrade security at the entrance of some of the schools there. School Board President Dr. Dennis Nicholson is joining me today to talk about these efforts. And there have been, Dennis, first off, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, there have been a lot of different safety upgrades. What kind of prompted all these, first off?
We did a safety audit with the Jefferson City Police Department, where they spent a year going through all of our schools, looking at what we needed to upgrade as far as safety and security. One of the most important pieces is just the communication between the schools and the police department and our parents and our staff and our faculty and kids all together. That's probably the primary piece that's important. But we've done a lot of bricks and mortar and some other software and things like that also. Yeah,
lots of upgrades have been done so far, and there's a lot more that needs to be done. First off, let's kind of talk about what you've done in the last year or so in terms of upgrades with security.
With the audit, some of our schools, Pioneer Trail, the new school, is fine. We have a process where we have $2.5 million every year that we spend on upgrading schools, focusing primarily on the elementary schools. We've upgraded South School, we've upgraded West School, and so in doing that, then the safety and security have been brought up also. And this year, our plans are to do East School. Through the audit, though, we decided to go ahead and, instead of going through the natural process, take the monies that are scheduled for the 2016 to spend that money on the other 8 elementary schools to bring them up to speed with the vestibules and the cameras and those types of things. Jefferson City High School, the middle schools, and Nichols Career Center, we've done the last 2 years as far as the entryway vestibules.
Yeah.
And then just in February, this fall, we've upgraded over 100 cameras, mostly in the elementary schools, and some, again, at our secondary level schools, but mostly elementary because they only had those at the vestibule before. And so we've really upgraded the number of cameras in the last few months.
Oh yeah, hundreds added. And yeah, kind of describe the secure vestibule entrance. What's that entail?
The idea is that there's a person that has eye contact with who is coming into the building and identifies them and their purpose. And so there's an entryway to where you can get in and out of the elements from the outside, but then you can't get into the building until you've been buzzed in by an actual person making eye contact with you.
So it's kind of restructuring the front of these schools. So kind of a lot of time and money. And in the meantime, I know you kind of are doing some little upgrades until you can get that whole system put in place, right?
The original plan was that we were going to do each of the schools as they came online with their remodeling in our normal general funds, but we decided to go ahead and, instead of remodeling an elementary school, to spend that money on all the remaining schools that had not had the vestibules until then.
Now, in terms also overall cost we're talking here, I mean, it's a lot that you're doing. Hundreds of cameras, upgrades to whole entrances of buildings.
Right.
What's this cost in the district?
We spent $190,000 on cameras just this past fall, but we're taking the $2.5 million that were already earmarked for upgrades for the schools to do that. This is money that we have budgeted already to be used for upgrading our buildings. We just pushed it forward for the safety and security. A year for those, but this is the maximum amount of money that by statute we can pull in our budget into our remodeling and our capital projects, and so we just are refocusing that.
Kind of shifting around. How do you feel right now? How do you feel the safety of schools? How safe are schools in Jefferson City?
I think schools in Jefferson City are very safe, and like I said, the most important piece is that relationship with the staff, the parents, the kids, and just the community as a whole, and the police department. We have a very good working relationship with those, because that's where we see, you know, if there are issues, we know those well ahead, and so we can take care of those. And plus, the hardware and the buildings help slow things down, because the most important thing, if there is an incident, is time for those relationships to come into play.
So something you've been working on, a coordinated effort, and you even said that a police officer kind of looked at all the schools and kind of assessed the situation.
Yes.
And again, what are kind of the goals heading into the new year? You have even some goals just for the month of February, in fact, right?
Yes.
And overall, just continuing these vestibules, making those entrances safer, because that's the first spot where someone can get in.
Between the vestibules and the entryway is going to be this summer when we get in and remodel those. But in the meantime, there's an opportunity to have I forget what you call it, a buzz-in,
yes.
a buzz-in, and then to add keypads for personnel as they come in.
Yeah, something that I
And
know
that's
a lot of
something
schools
we're putting
are
in
doing.
this spring.
Yeah, so kind
For
of
the late winter.
in between time
Right.
until you can do that full. A lot of schools are moving to it. School security, big thing. Thanks so much for coming
Yes,
on. I
yes.
appreciate it. All right, here's Brittany with a look at what she has coming.